Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now today I'm here to answer a question from a viewer who's asked me a question about quite an elemental part of a gentleman's outfit, his shirt, but actually there's a bit to consider and a bit to think about in formulating a response which will be useful to Paul, who's written to me and says, I'm writing to ask for some sartorial advice. As I am starting my first corporate job next week, I'm 24 years of age, I am currently in the process of buying new shirts to wear on the job. I am now, however, faced with the difficult decision to choose what type of cuff. Should I stick to simple buttons or opt to order shirts with cufflinks? Thank you for your advice, Paul. Well, Paul, I'm so pleased that you wrote to me because the decisions that you make relating to your shirt choices are going to be quite important to the way that you wear your shirts and the enjoyment that you will get from them quite soon, because you've got to remember that, you know, your shirts and the cuff on your shirt plays an important part in determining how you're going to wear that shirt and the level of formality that it'll be appropriate for, because cuffs are, let's not forget, one of the most hardest wearing parts of your shirt as well. So it's important to make the right decision, because your cuff, as I'm sitting now, you know, really the only part of my shirt, were I not wearing a jacket, which would be having a hard time, would be the cuff, because it's going to be in contact with the things that you're sitting against. It sees a lot of action. So choosing the right cuff for your shirt is rather important. Now, largely, there are two types of cuff which you will find on most modern day shirts. There are some others actually, but we'll stick to the two larger ones. And in your correspondence, you said, should I stick to shirts with buttons on the cuffs or shirts that take cufflinks? What you're referring to are basically barrel cuffs and French cuffs on the shirts which are on shirts that we tend to buy in the modern era. They've all got their own qualities, and both of those type of shirt cuffs have a place in the wardrobe of any intentionally well-dressed man. So let us just for a moment talk about each of those cuffs, the barrel cuff, the French cuff, and see which I think would be the best sort of larger part of your shirt collection. Okay, let's talk about the most common one, the one I'm wearing right now, and pretty much 90% of the men out there in the world wearing dress shirts today will be wearing this type, and it is the good old barrel cuff, all right? So this is the cuff of one shirt. So where the sleeve ends, all right, the cuff is that sort of thickened, stiffened piece of extra material which finishes off the sleeve, and it is normally fastened, almost certainly fastened, on a barrel cuff with a button. Now, it may be one button, it may be two buttons. On a more fancy shirt, it may be three. And these are undoubtedly the most common that you will encounter. Now, when it comes to the finish of, you know, your barrel cuff, you might find some have a rounded edge at the bottom, some might have a straight edge, others might have a sort of mitered cut or an offset angle to it, but largely it's a barrel cuff. And this is by far the most versatile shirt cuff that it's important that you have in your collection, because the barrel cuff is very, very flexible. It's useful because you can wear it pretty much across the whole spectrum of formality, right up to, but not including, black tie, all right, so tuxedo. You can wear it day to day, as I am now, rather casually. You can wear it, you know, in a business situation, right up to quite formal wear, but you can't wear it for evening wear, as we would describe it, black tie, tuxedo, dinner suit. That's where kind of the barrel cuff ends, and it's very, very usable across the widest range of one's life because it's easy, all right? This is the thing with the barrel cuff. It's easy to wear, and I'll explain why. Firstly, you can roll up your sleeves very readily when you have a barrel cuff on the shirt. This is not possible with a French cuff. We'll explain why in a moment, but certainly with a barrel cuff, although it's stiffened material which makes up the cuff, it's still very flexible. You can turn it backwards on itself, you can roll it up to the sort of halfway along the forearm or above the elbow. It's something which is easily achievable with a barrel cuff. Looks good, whatever you do with it. For me, that is just about the most important reason why I would choose a barrel cuff, is its flexibility in day-to-day application. I'm wearing a white dress shirt right now with a barrel cuff. I'm wearing it casually. I could wear it out this evening with a collar, with a tie rather, at the collar, and it would transform itself into quite a formal garment. The barrel cuff just goes along with the flow. It doesn't have to be dressed up or dressed down, it just does its job. Now when it comes to maintaining the cuff of one shirt, the one thing I would say to you is it does get a bit grubby, all right? Because you're always rubbing up against things, whether you're sat at a desk, whether you're, whatever you're doing. The cuff gets a lot of action. My little bit of side advice here, which is outside of your question, is one of the things I do to make sure they stay as clean as possible is just put a little squirt of anti-staining material, this stuff that you can get to sort of remove stains, squirt it around the cuffs, sometimes around the inside of the collar, if that's got a bit grubby as well. It'll really help in keeping them lovely and clean. If you don't have any of the anti-staining stuff, a little bit of washing up liquid or dishwashing detergent, whatever you call it, wherever you live. Little smear of that on the grubby bit and it'll just help lift away the grime and the particles of dirt. It'll keep the cuffs looking good. So a little bit of extra advice when it comes to the cuffs there. But certainly, the barrel cuff is the easiest for flexibility and also for maintenance because it's the easiest for ironing. You just have to whip the iron over it and it's done. No special effort involved. And when it comes to the fitting of one shirt, you know where it should end. You should always have about 1/4 to 1/2 an inch of the shirt cuff showing outside of the end of your sleeve, as I have now. But also what a lot of people forget is when you move your sleeves, your arm up and down, the actual cuff of your shirt shouldn't move more than 1/2 an inch in either direction. It shouldn't be flopping over the thumb or rising halfway up your arm. If you're finding that your shirt cuff is moving, ebb and flow far too much, it would suggest your shirt isn't fitted properly. So that's another way that the cuff can be used to sort of take the temperature of the fit of your shirt. So that's the barrel cuff. The alternative to the barrel cuff is the French cuff, or the double cuff as we tend to refer to it here in the UK. And in essence, that's just an extension to the cuff. Same material as the normal cuff, but it folds back upon itself. So it's doubled material at the cuff and it's held or fastened by a cuff link. And that's an important thing. The cuff link is very much a part of the whole experience of wearing French cuffs or double cuffs. And this type of shirt tends to be a lot more fancy. They tend to be reserved for use by men who are perhaps more sartorially elegant in the way they dress. And absolutely the double cuff will be the prerequisite for your black tie or your tuxedo level of dressing. One piece of advice I would give you with a French cuff, if you want to bear one thing in your mind, if you're going to be wearing a shirt which has a French cuff, I would suggest you only wear that type of shirt if you intend to wear a tie. So if you intend to wear your shirt open, no tie at the neck, it's not the place for a French cuff. The level of formality is generally reserved for the slightly more stylish moments in life. So no tie, no French cuff. That is the rule which I set myself in life, all right? Certainly when it comes to standard dress shirts. If you've got fancy shirts which are not designed to wear a tie and they are French cuff, obviously that's a different category. But with a dress shirt, your standard fancy dress shirt, no cufflinks, no tie, simple as that. Now the big advantage of a French cuff shirt is that you get the opportunity to wear cufflinks. Now cufflinks are one of the few little parts of a gentleman's attire which are jewellery-like in their sort of addition to the outfit. Because if you think about it, men, we don't actually get to wear these fanciful baubles of jewellery like the ladies do. We don't wear necklaces, tiaras, earrings and the like. Generally, of course you can if you want, but most of us more masculine dressing men do not. You get to wear a watch if you're lucky, maybe the odd ring and a cufflink. And this is where you get a little bit of personal expression in the cufflink that you get to choose for your shirt. It's only visible now and again, a little flash of the cufflink, but it's an important thing for the men who enjoy wearing them. So that's another big plus to the French cuff or the double cuff. you get a little bit of choice for a little bit of pseudo jewellery with your outfit. But as I say, if you don't intend to wear a tie, don't wear a double cuff shirt. So let's quickly recap on the advantages of both. The barrel cuff shirt, well, I say it's more relaxed style. It's undoubtedly more flexible in your wardrobe. It can easily be rolled up if you want to, wear shorter sleeves during the course of the day. It looks natural when you do that. By far the most flexible shirt that you can add to your collection. The French cuff, on the other hand, performs the opposite function. It's much more stylish. It's for more formal situations, and its big advantage is that you get to wear a cufflink with it, so you get a little bit of sprezzatura or self-expression with the outfit that you're wearing. But otherwise, it's not for less formal situations, only for the more formal. Now, there is a third way, which is rarely seen in the modern world. However, for the stylish gentleman, I think it's a great selection, and it's a hybrid of both of the shirt types that we've just talked about, and it's called the cocktail cuff, or it's also referred to as, let's have a look, the turn-back cuff, which is its other name. And basically it's a French cuff, so a turn-back cuff, but held in place with buttons in a traditional barrel cuff style. Now, it's very, very rarely seen, but it is so incredibly cool. When you do see it on a gentleman, you sit up and take notice, because you know that this man has gone to the greatest extent in the way that he dresses. Now, the cocktail cuff was designed by Turnbull and Asser, the famous Jermyn Street shirt makers right in the heart of London, holders of the royal warrant to His Majesty the King. And they created the cocktail cuff shirt to be worn by Sean Connery in the first ever Bond movie, Dr. No. And if you go to Turnbull and Asser, and I was there probably about 6 weeks ago, you go downstairs into the shirt section in their main shop, and they've actually got a cabinet where the cocktail cuff is on display. And they fitted up Sean Connery for his shirts, and he's clearly visible seen wearing these in the film Dr. No. So they're often referred to as the James Bond cuff as well, as a consequence of that. But the cocktail cuff, I mean, obviously hard to find. If you want to go to Turnbull and Asser in London, you're looking £200 plus to get a shirt with that cuff on it. However, if you see one of these, you know you're in the presence of somebody who knows what they're doing when it comes to their clothing, and it is incredibly stylish, but rarely seen, but worth mentioning as a potential option for you in the future. So there we go, Paul. If it was me, all right, if I was you today and I'm stacking my wardrobe with shirts ready for the working week, I would make the most of my purchases be barrel cuff. Flexible, usable, wearable. It's going to be the most sensible choice for you. French cuff, maybe own one or two in the classic colour, white, because then you're going to be able to wear them maybe with black tie when that day comes, or if you just want a particularly stylish day, you want to wear a cuff to work, good time to get them. Worth picking them up at the sale time of year, because French cuffs don't sell in the same numbers as barrel cuffs. You tend to find them on sale at the old New Year period, summer period. You can pick them up for a much lower price than if you went in there looking to buy one at peak time. So keep your eyes open, but just get one or two of those, and the majority of the wardrobe barrel cuffs, and you've got every angle in life covered. I hope you have found that useful. If you have, thumbs up, subscribe to see more. If you want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee or become a patron, where you will benefit from the additional video content I produce for my patrons. And you'll find all the information on how to do all of that in the show notes below. If you'd like to add something to the dialogue, put it in the comments section below, and we'll all get to read it and learn from it as well. So until the next time, choose your cuffs carefully for the situations that you encounter in life, and you will not go wrong. Until the next time, take care, and I will see you again very soon.